A Guide to Food Stamp Assistance in Idaho for Individuals and Families. Before we get started, we would like to acknowledge the support of some key organizations. Their efforts were supported by funding from AARP Idaho and by guidance from members of the Food Stamp Curriculum Committee of the Idaho Hunger Relief Task Force. The central goal of this guide is to fight hunger by increasing participation in the Idaho Food Stamp Program. The Train the Trainer curriculum was created to provide accurate, timely, and consistent information, as well as to dispel misinformation about food stamps programs at the community, client, and legislative levels so that eligible Idaho residents can participate. This curriculum is not meant to serve as application assistance. Rather, it is to ensure that advocates and leaders have access to the important information about food stamps program in order to increase awareness to communities throughout the state. While we update this guide multiple times annually and strive to provide the most up-to-date information possible, it is important to note that policies are changing all the time. As a result, the accuracy of this information in this guide can only be guaranteed as of its date of publication. This curriculum has many levels of use. It can be used for independent learning, informing yourself on the food stamp program, or it can be used for staff trainings and community trainings. If you want to use this in a community setting, we encourage you to review the resource material attached to this module and Module 2. These training materials will provide you with suggestions on how to make the presentation interactive and engaging. We also invite you to contact the Idaho Hunger Relief Task Force if you would like assistance in becoming a trainer. Just email us at info@idahohunger.org. Throughout the curriculum, you will find other resource materials that can be printed and distributed at the community presentations. All of the materials are located in the lower right-hand corner on the screen. Look for the paperclip image shown here. This curriculum looks at the process of applying for food stamps and explains how participants can use their benefits to purchase food. We will focus on particular rights and responsibilities of applicants and participants with respect to the program access, use, and reporting. These modules will illustrate the partnership between families that receive food stamps and the food stamp program itself, portraying both the role of the Department of Health and Welfare and the duties of the participant. The mutual respect between these participants in the food stamp program is the overarching takeaway. Here's a rundown of the curriculum. As a trainer, it is important to review all of these modules in order to solidify your knowledge of the food stamp program. When presenting to a larger group, though, it is recommended that you only use the modules that are most relevant to the members of the community that you are working with. For example, the Overview module would be most helpful to audience that just want to get a basic understanding of how the program works, while the Eligibility module provides much more detailed information about who generally qualifies for the program. Module 1, an overview of the Idaho Food Stamp Program in quick facts. The Food Stamp Program is a federal nutrition program run by the USDA Food and Nutrition Services that help people with low income buy more food and improve their diets. The program's stated purpose is to promote the general welfare and safeguard the health and well-being of the nation's population by raising the levels of nutrition among low-income households. Seeing as spending on food is often one of the first sacrifices a family makes in times of economic difficulty, food stamps allow families to purchase food critical to their lives even during periods of unemployment or other financial hardships. It is important to note that the food stamp program is a nutrition program that helps low-income people, including many working people, maintain healthy diets. Nearly half of American adults will benefit from the food stamp program at some point in their lives, and the food stamp program is currently used by many residents in Idaho. In fact, nearly 1 in 8 Idaho residents participate every month. At the same time, many people who are eligible to participate in the program are not receiving benefits. In 2012, only 84% of Idahoans who qualified for the food stamp program participated. Concerned about these statistics, the Idaho Hunger Relief Task Force conducted focus groups across Idaho with recipients and potential recipients of food stamps. They found the two most overarching barriers to participation were misinformation about eligibility and applications and the perceived stigma that receiving public benefits. These obstacles are two significant reasons eligible people do not participate in food stamps in Idaho. The food stamp program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The USDA pays the full cost of the benefits and half the cost of administering the program. The other half of the administrative costs are funded by the state of Idaho. In 2008, the Federal Food Stamp Program was renamed SNAP, which stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. However, Idaho still refers to SNAP as the food stamp program.
If you want to eat right when money's tight, SNAP can help. It's for people with low income, young and old. It's for those with a job or who are looking for a job. It's for those with a car or just a baby stroller. SNAP is the new name for the Federal Food Stamp Program. Call today for more information. 1-800-221-5689. SNAP, putting healthy food within reach.
Although food stamps were distributed as paper stamps in the past, participants now receive these benefits on electronic benefit transfer, or EBT cards. In Idaho, this card is called a Quest card. EBT looks like a debit card, which enables shoppers to use their benefits discreetly at a checkout counter. EBT cards are accepted at most grocery stores and corner stores, as well as some farmers markets and community-supported agricultural programs. Quest cards do not only carry food stamp benefits. They can also hold benefits from TAFI, which is Idaho's cash assistance program, and from the Aid to the Aged, Blind, and Disabled program. Because the cards can be used for these programs as well, customers can purchase other non-food items with their Quest card if they are also receiving benefits from the latter two programs. However, when paying with the food stamps on their Quest cards, customers may only purchase eligible food items. Participation in the Idaho Food Stamp Program benefits both families and communities. For individuals and families, the program facilitates a move to self-sufficiency, though there is a misperception that many food stamp recipients receive benefits for a long period of time. Half of the new food stamp recipients nationwide leave the program after 9 months. During the time that they participate in the program, food stamps allows these families to make ends meet. The food stamp program is therefore considered to be a work support program. The food stamp program also promotes healthier diets. Participation in the program enables participants to purchase healthier foods from their families by expanding access to grocery stores and other sources of nutritious food. Additionally, the food stamp program gives participants the option of taking part in a nutrition class specifically designed for low-income shoppers. Nearly half of food stamp recipients are children, and this nutrition support program is especially important for them. A nutritionally adequate diet is essential for childhood development and children's ability to focus in school, and malnourishment during childhood can cause cognitive delays throughout a person's life. Ensuring that eligible children can receive nutrition that they need through food stamps is vital. For communities, the food stamp program promotes economic development. Every $5 in new food stamp benefits results in an average of $9 in community spending, and this is the ripple effects that strengthen the community as a whole. In 2014, 84% of all eligible Idahoans participated in that program, compared to 83% of the national average. Among eligible working poor, Idaho's participation rate was 80% compared to 72% of the national average. Idaho's participation rate has risen significantly over the past several years, likely as a result of recessionary times and improvement of the program access. Still, as you can see, many people who are eligible are not participating. As mentioned before, misinformation about eligibility and application methods deter many Idahoans from receiving the benefits that they qualify for. In particular, seniors and eligible documented immigrants tend to have lower participation rates than the general eligible population. Now we will go over some quick important facts about the food stamp program, starting with who receives food stamps. Low-income U.S. citizens and certain qualified documented immigrants are eligible for food stamps. As explained earlier, almost half of food stamp recipients are children, with 76% of food stamp households containing a child or a senior or a person with disability. Some people are hesitant to apply for food stamps because they believe that they are taking the benefit away from someone else who might need it. However, that is not the case. The food stamp program is an entitlement program. This means that anyone who meets the qualification for food stamps can receive them, and so any person who participates in the program does not take away someone else's opportunity to receive the benefits. There can be confusion around how much participants in the food stamp program typically receive. Benefit levels are calculated based on the household size, income, and certain expenses. Though there are many perceptions that participants often receive a very small monthly benefit, the average benefit in 2015 was $116 per person. The maximum benefit of a household may be received is displayed on this chart. For a family of 4, the maximum benefit is $649. To be income eligible for the food stamp program, a household's income must not exceed 130% of the federal poverty limit. This chart shows the current gross income limits based on family size. Benefit levels are based on many factors besides income, including but not limited to housing, utility, and child care expenses. A self-reliant specialist, or SRS, from the Department of Health and Welfare will review each family's case to determine the correct allotment amount for that family based on their situation. Applicants can apply for the Idaho Food Stamp Program either by going to the Department of Health and Welfare office or by submitting an application through mail or fax. The most timely method for applying is to go to the Health and Welfare office in person. Applicants can visit any health and welfare office to apply, not just the one in his or her own county or region. If the applicant goes to the office, he or she will meet with a self-reliant specialist, or SRS. The SRS will interview the applicant and collect all of the information necessary to determine if the applicant is eligible for benefits. Those who apply in person do not need to fill out an application, as the interview with the SRS fulfills the same function, but they should still bring any available documents verifying their income, identity, assets, and expenses, which will make the process more efficient. Those who do not go to the Health and Welfare office in person can apply by submitting an application via mail or fax. Applicants can access an application on the Department of Health and Welfare website or by calling the Health and Welfare office and requesting that an application be sent to them. The applicant will need to submit information confirming their identity, income, expenses, and assets along with the application. Health and Welfare will contact the applicant to schedule an interview by phone. Unfortunately, the most common time participants find out that they need to recertify for food stamps is while trying to purchase groceries in line. The recertification process occurs on a 6-month, 1-year, or 2-year basis, depending upon the recipient's circumstances, or if any information changes, for example, mailing address or an increase or decrease in the income. Participants are responsible for informing the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare when changes occur. Participants can register on IdaLink portal so that they can look up recertification dates and other important information. Contrary to some misperception, having a car or a home does not prevent someone from qualifying for food stamps. In Idaho, there is a $5,000 asset limit per household, but certain assets do not count towards that limit. These assets include an applicant's home of residence, 1 car per adult household member, and educational and retirement funds. As well as providing access to food for low-income participants, the food stamp program also provides resources about nutrition. There is actually additional nutrition education component to the food stamp program, which includes classes about cooking, shopping for healthy foods on a budget, food safety, and maintaining an active lifestyle. Nutrition education will be explored in more detail during Module 5 of this curriculum. Though some may assume that many food stamp recipients either receive too much of a benefit or are unlawfully receiving benefits, the food stamp program is actually very efficient. One indicator of the program's efficiency is the payment accuracy rate, which is a measurement of how accurately benefit amounts are determined by state staff. In 2015, Idaho's payment accuracy rate was over 97%. This means that fewer than 3% of all food stamp benefits issued were higher or lower than the amount that they should have been receiving. Nationally, the food stamp program's payment accuracy rate is at the highest level ever, and Idaho has surpassed the national accuracy rate every year since 2006. Fraud rates have also been consistently declining across the country over the past 2 decades. Community members who witness food stamp fraud can report it by calling 211 or accessing a form on the Department of Health and Welfare website. The food stamp program can also improve the efficiency of the U.S. workforce by providing an incentive for employment. In our state, many program participants who are unemployed or are working limited hours are required to participate in Idaho's Job Search Assistance Program, which provides assistance with resumes, job search, and skill building.